On today's episode of The Unwritten Rule, we've got a good show for you guys. Got some, we got a Max Chadwick list we're going to talk about. I won't say what the list is because we want you guys to obviously listen to the show and hear us break down the list, but it has Mizzou on it. It is a football related list. So definitely stay tuned for that. He's got some takes we're going to discuss. And then we got some basketball news as well from the rival side, some Arkansas basketball news that does connect to Mizzou. I think you can all deduce who we will be talking about. So a couple of just quick hitting stuff, just some fun stuff to talk about to get your weekend started. And we have a good quick hit section, a lot of Mizzou stuff in there. Going to talk a little Jonte Porter, talk a little Tigers in the NFL, a little Caleb Brown stuff as well, a little softball. We got a ton of stuff to dive into. We're also going to talk about the Dan Hurley stuff with that, just because that's big news, obviously, in the world of basketball. Do a little NBA Finals talk, all sorts of stuff. So good little off-season show to get you guys started on your weekend. So stay tuned. The Unwritten Rule starts right now.
Marcel, where are you going with that disc? You are not putting that on again. Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble.
Attention. Everybody stop what you're doing. It's time for The Unwritten Rule, a Mizzou sports podcast brought to you by the Believe Network, alongside Peyton Haverman and Kenny Van Doren. Here is your host, Jack Knowlton.
Welcome back to The Unwritten Rule. Today is Friday, June 7th, and we've got a list to talk about, Peyton and Kenny. It's another slow week here in the Mizzou world. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff, like I said in the intro. We've got some good Mizzou quick hits, some stuff on the pro circuit, football, softball, Jonte Porter. We're going to talk a little NBA Finals, all that stuff. But we're going to lead off the Mizzou segment with a list from our good friend of the program, Max Chadwick. I thought this would be fun to talk about. Max did his top receiving core in college football. If you're not looking at the YouTube and seeing the graphic of it, he did his top receiving core in college football, and he put Mizzou 6th out of the top 10. I'll read through the top 10 quickly. From 10 to 1, Oklahoma at 10, LSU at 9, Colorado at 8, Miami at 7, Mizzou at 6, Texas at 5, Georgia at 4, Ohio State at 3, Ole Miss at 2, and Oregon at 1. I'm curious your thoughts, Peyton and Kenny. We love Max. I love that Max makes lists. He puts in his Twitter bio, I probably hate your favorite team, because he takes any of course any list that he comes out with, that PFF's come out with, college fans are going to come out of the woodwork. I personally, maybe this is just me not knowing ball, I thought Mizzou should have at least been in the top 5 on the wide receiving core. We've obviously had Max on to talk about it. What do you boys think? I thought Mr. Chadwick had the Tigers a little bit too low. He knows we love him, but what do you think about Mizzou being 6th on this list?
I'm never going to complain about Mizzou being top 10 in anything. Because quite frankly, 2 years ago they were 6 and 7 and playing in the Gasparilla Bowl. So I think we should take everything, not take anything for granted. Going back to the top 5, I do want to look at the top 5 again real quick, because it's Oregon, Ohio State, Ole Miss, Georgia, Texas. 100% agree with Oregon. I think Oregon has the best 1-2 in the nation with Stewart and Johnson. I think that is a loaded top 2. Ole Miss is pretty good. They have Trey Harris, of course. I don't know. I think you could argue Mizzou is probably pretty close to being in that 3 to 5 range. Texas is so interesting because I know they got Bond out of the transfer portal, but they lose Xavier Worthy. They just lost 2 top, 2-round receivers. They got Ryan Wingo, of course. That's well chronicled. But I do think Missouri is a little better than Texas. I think I would take Missouri's receiver room over Texas right now. Georgia, I think Lovett is just such a nothing to me. I don't think he's that good. I'm going to be salty about that one forever. Ohio State, you can go back and forth. They have Egbuka back, who while he did not impress in the Cotton Bowl, nobody really did on that offense because Lincoln Kienholz was just not up to the job. And Mizzou was just in their backfield all day. So I don't think Missouri is better than Oregon and Ole Miss, but I think you can argue they could be a little better than 3 through 5. I don't think 6 is an outrageous ranking, though. I think it's a pretty good ranking. Mizzou is, I think their ceiling is 3. Their floor would probably be 6.
It's funny to me that 3 of the 5 teams ahead of Missouri have either a former Missouri wide receiver or someone that, nearly came down to the wire of being a Tiger or being with a different team. But we also have to remember what Max does here is that a lot of it's stat driven. It's grades. It's how these guys performed last year, how they're going to perform this year. It's not all based solely on who he likes on different teams. I mean, he's very into the numbers, and anytime he's on with us, he's giving us grades. He's giving us how these guys match up against certain schemes. And if you want to read that you can go on PFF and read it, but it's also on the screen here on the YouTube. I mean, he's been a huge Luther Burden fan since his freshman year. I mean, he's high on him, and it was really nice what Gabe DeArmond pointed out the other day when he saw this graphic. He said, this Missouri wide receiver core has been they've talked openly about how they want to be one of the best in the nation. They want people to recognize that. And I think this is a good spot heading into the preseason that they're 6th in the country, according to PFF.
Yeah, that's a good argument. Max does, that's a very fair thing. Max does know ball, and he leads his little breakdown of each one. He leads the Missouri one with Missouri's receiving core is headlined by the best wide receiver in college football. So I think you do have to put that stamp on it. He has been a Luther Burden guy. Obviously, we're all Luther Burden guys. Who isn't? But you know what? I was curious. I wanted to get y'all's take. I obviously, I'm not as much of a numbers guy. Max is very plugged in. And so I think it's fair. Maybe they push into the top 5, but 6th is overall a pretty fair ranking. I'll read a little bit more of what he said. Mizzou had Burden had a 91 receiving grade in 2023, led the nation in yards after the catch. Obviously, I talked about their depth a little bit with Theo Wees, Mookie Cooper, Marquise Johnson, and Brett Norfleet. I like to think throwing Brett Norfleet in there is partially our doing because we've made him pay attention to Brett Norfleet whenever he's come on. But you know what? Very fair. I saw this graphic. I was curious people's thoughts. And then it was funny. Obviously, a lot of other, people come out of the woodwork, and Max takes that all on the chin very well whenever, they try and make fun of his list or whatever. I think there was one video he posted where someone called him, what was it again, Kenny? It was like crazy or ludicrous or outrageous. And it was this guy. And Max said, my tombstone needs to have that clip played on a loop. So I thought that was fun, but I don't know. Any other thoughts just on Mizzou's receiver core? What did he say, Kenny?
He's ridiculous. He's outrageous.
Ridiculous. He's outrageous. I thought that was good. Put that on. Max wants that on his tombstone. But I don't think overall it's ridiculous or outrageous.
No, I don't think it is. I think Mizzou is I think it's a fair spot, number 6. I would put them over Texas just because Texas. I mean, I don't really think. You look at, and this is just going off our lads, so I mean, take it with a grain of salt. I mean, their top 3 wide receivers and their starting tight end, according to our lads, are all transfers. So, I mean, and they're good transfers like Silas Bolden, Isaiah Bond, Matthew Golden. I mean, those are good. Like, those are guys that have produced. But, I mean, I don't know if I confidently say that's better than Missouri. That's the only one that I think I kind of disagree with.
Sure. Very fair. Very fair. Kenny, any other final thoughts on Mizzou's receiving core, Max's rankings?
I mean, take
Max
your shot now. Where do you think this receiving core will finish at the end of the season based on grades and based on a ranking?
That's a good question.
I'll say a lot of it depends on Brady Cook. Like if Brady Cook stays the same as he was last year, still probably a top 5 or 6 unit. If Brady Cook is able to maybe take another step forward with kind of more of a mastery of Kirby Moore's take on the offense, I think we're talking probably about a 3 to 4 receiver room. I don't see them jumping Oregon. I don't see them jumping Ole Miss. Those two rooms are absolutely loaded as well. But I really do think Mizzou has a chance to be in that 3 to 4 range.
I'm going to agree. I was going to say 3 behind Ole Miss and Oregon, just because, I think for the exact reasons Peyton said. I think Evan Stewart's great for Oregon. Ole Miss is good, and you are right about Brady Cook. It's going to come down to how well he plays. What do you think, Eddie? You think top 3?
I keep looking at this graphic, and I'm thinking about like one of those end of the season like videos where you see like the logos start to shift up and shift out. You see them move up, and I think like there's a lock next to Oregon and Ole Miss. Maybe they battle for the 1 spot. I think Georgia maybe moves into that 3 spot, a nice bounce back year for the Bulldogs. And then I think Mizzou shifts into the 4 spot. I think that's where it goes. I think Ohio State kind of gets bumped down a little bit, and Texas as well.
I feel like it's interesting with Georgia and Ohio State with their quarterback situation, because obviously, like, I think a lot of people are expecting Carson Beck to improve and be probably like the QB1 off the next draft board. Will Howard, I mean, he didn't look great at times last year with Kansas State, but I think obviously you give him a weapon like Ibuka. I mean,
and plus, I mean,
out of him.
You got to remember Ohio State did get the number 1 recruit in the nation, Jeremiah Smith. So there is that to consider. Texas did unfortunately get Ryan Wingo.
Who'd they get, Peyton? Who'd they get?
They got Ryan Wingo. We'll see what happens with that. It'd be kind of tough for him to see the field. Same thing with Oregon. They got, I'm totally blanking. Jeremiah McClellan. So you got to consider some freshmen in there, but I will take Mizzou's top 4 of Burden, Weiss, Cooper, Johnson. I'll take the depth even. I mean, you got guys like Josh Manning in there, maybe Courtney Crutchfield, Daniel Blood. There's a ton of depth. I'd maybe take the depth up there with anyone. But again, Ole Miss, Oregon, I think it's hard to top those 2 rooms. But number 3, I think is very possible for Mizzou.
Yeah, I think the depth, you make a good point. Like, it also kind of feels like, I mean, Mizzou is going to have to rely so heavily. Like, if you compare them to an Ohio State, like Mizzou's going to have to rely way more heavily on their passing game. Like, Ohio State also has Quinshon Judkins. Like, they might be able to lean on their, running back a little bit more. Maybe that takes away opportunities for some of the receivers.
Man,
they're going to be a wagon.
The Ole Miss room. The Ole Miss might have my favorite room. I mean, there's like some stuff. Antoine Wells, Trey Harris. I mean, this is very loaded room. But
yeah, it's a good competition. I think that's the main thing you have to learn is like 1 through 6. You're pretty happy if you have any of those receiving rooms, and we think Mizzou will jump into the top 3 when it's all said and done. But all right, yeah, I was curious about that. I wanted to obviously shout out Max. We mean no slander to Max, of course. We love Max. We'll have him back on the show before.
No, I think his ranking is fair.
Season start. Yeah,
I have an issue with Max. Oh, how about that? Yeah. I'll be different.
All right.
Yeah, we're not on speaking terms, Max. Because my favorite team isn't ranked high enough.
Yeah. Right. Our team isn't high enough. You clearly have been not grinding the Marquise Johnson tape enough to know that he's going to have a breakout sophomore year. It'll be huge.
I did think about replying, hey, did the Venmo not hit? We asked for Missouri at 3. But I didn't want people to take that literally, so I didn't comment it. If you're watching on the YouTube, I did comment at Max Chadwick meant Missouri at number 1. If we can get an update on the graphic, that would be great. Thumbs up.
Right.
Did he get a like from him?
Yeah, he liked it.
All right. Good.
If I am playing devil's advocate, Knowlton, I am also a big Marquise Johnson fan, but I will acknowledge almost all, if I would say like 90% of his production came on just running really fast down the field. He didn't do a whole lot of receiver things. I think he'll be great, but I will say it's very fair to be like, okay, I need to see him like actually run some intermediate routes and stuff.
I have accepted that when it comes to evaluating, this is where I acknowledge I'm not a ball knower. When it comes to evaluating mostly wide receiver and running back talent, I am the Oakland Raiders. If you are really fast, I will probably bump you up in my list just because it's just fun to watch people run really fast. So, I get it. All right, well, we'll have Max on. Also, I want to give this chance to roast a roast the Athletic for a second because they did a preview of, I think they did their top 25. They had Missouri at 12, but the more issue people took was the fact that they went through their roster, listed Brady Cook as Connor Cook. So quarterback Connor Cook, shout out. And then noted Florida State or former Florida defensive back Chris McClellan, who
weighs
about
320 pounds. 320 pounds. Look, I don't want to dunk on the Athletic too hard. I know it's hard to write on deadline. I know it's hard to cover that many things. But getting the quarterback's name wrong of a team that finished, 8 in the nation last year?
Yeah.
That's a pretty rough look. I also noticed they mentioned Marcus Bryant in there. They did not mention Caden Green, which I thought was a little strange. But I don't mean to be too mean to the Athletic, but those are some pretty egregious errors.
Maybe they were looking ahead. Didn't Connor Cook play for a national title in 20? Oh no, he didn't play for a national title. He played in the college football playoff, didn't he?
Did he? Was he the quarterback for that Michigan State team?
I believe so. I mean, I'll look it up real quick, but maybe they're looking ahead and they were like, oh, this team is going to play in the national championship game, and we'll compare him to Connor Cook.
He did not play in the college football playoff. Unless
are you sure he's not that 2013 year?
Oh, nope, sorry, I should have kept reading.
Oh, 15. Okay.
15. The
2014 season, 2015.
Oh yeah, they were. Yep, he was when they lost 38-0 to Alabama. He was their quarterback.
Quarterbacks in the Cotton Bowl named Cook. How about that? Although he did not play well in that one. Good Lord, 38-0.
I am really going to enjoy when we look back on the 4-team college football playoff era at the Wikipedia to see Cincinnati and TCU on the bottom of teams that made it in. I think that will be a fun history lesson.
If you also look at it, you'll see that Missouri is tied for the best winning percentage in New Year's Six bowls in the 4-team college football playoff era. There
you go. 1,000.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. All right. Well, shout out Max. Good list. I'm sad you didn't get our bribe to bump Mizzou at 1, but we'll accept your reasoning. We'll have you back on in the fall if you're listening to this. But anyway, other note, Kenny and Peyton, before we go to quick hits, or we have another football note as well. Before we go to basketball, I forgot about Justin Smith. Justin Smith, he is going. He's on the ballot to make the College Football Hall of Fame. Pretty cool. Obviously, the former Jeff City and Mizzou alum, defensive lineman, great member of the Mizzou defense. He's going to be among the nominees to go into the class of 2025. Of course, pretty stacked class. It's headlined by Nick Saban, so that's kind of fun. There obviously, I feel like, be more eyes on it because of that. There should be more eyes on it because of Justin Smith. But congrats to Justin Smith. Well deserved. Someone should give us a vote. Do they vote? Is that how that works? I don't know how the Hall of Fame works in college. Assume they vote.
I'm not sure either. I kind of just already had assumed he was in there, to be honest with you, because he hasn't played college football in 20 something years. So I'm a little surprised he wasn't in there already. I don't remember what the if there's a gap from when you can be on the ballot, but good for Justin Smith. I mean, he'll probably get in eventually.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he's been on the ballot before. I don't think this is the first time. I kind of remember writing about some like College Football Hall of Fame like class ballots he's been on in recent years, but I could be wrong on that. I think he was on the Missouri Athletics Hall of Fame in the last couple seasons as well. He was I don't know if he's still coaching down there, but I remember back in 2022 he was hired to Rockbridge's coaching staff for the football program. I tried to do a little bit of research on that. I didn't see any new updates about it, but he's still helping out in the community around Columbia.
Yeah, he's Mizzou through and through. So hopefully he makes it in. If this is his second time on the ballot, he would be the 9th player, by the way, to make the College Football Hall of Fame. Could be a good Ken Sports Shorts for you down the line, Kenny, if you want the other 8, perhaps. But yeah, congrats to Justin Smith. Hopefully makes it in the College Football Hall of Fame. Last thing, we have a basketball note. More of a note for the rival. Of course, he was a former Missouri Tiger. But Trevon Brazile is back, boys. We are not done with Trevon Brazile. He is returning to Arkansas. He will play for John Calipari. He withdrew from the draft. Shocker that he didn't have any pro team interest. But Peyton, I'll turn it over to you. Trevon Brazile is back.
I enjoy seeing the. I don't really know what else to call it other than hypocrisy from Arkansas fans who all of last season, and granted he was coming off a torn ACL, but they were like, you couldn't go a game without seeing like Trevon Brazile look so just disinterested on the defensive end, doesn't look like he's trying. Man, Trevon Brazile's been rough out there. And then like, because Cal says, well, I don't want to pay for Coleman Hawkins, let's just bring back Trevon Brazile. Arkansas fans are parading this around like it's some huge coup. I don't know, man. The idea of Trevon Brazile seems a whole lot better than actual Trevon Brazile to me. I'm not, and yes, I'm absolutely still bitter about him the way he left Mizzou. I'm not going to hide that. I don't like Arkansas. I don't like Trevon Brazile very much. But I've never really, in his time at Arkansas, I think he's been a bit overhyped. You still see the South Dakota State dunk from 2 years ago as their go-to highlight play for him. But hey, Arkansas is going to be a pretty good team this year. I'm sure Trevon Brazile will not be like the man on that team, but maybe if he's the fourth or fifth option, it works out well for them.
This is the second time he's tried to go to the NBA and it didn't work out. First time was actually after his freshman year. I don't know if a lot of people remember that, but he did consider the NBA draft before he officially transferred to Arkansas. I mean, I'm not as bitter about Trevon Brazile anymore. I don't really care as much. There's no one left on the team, the current Mizzou team that played with him. It just doesn't really matter anymore to me, but best of luck to him with Arkansas this year.
It is just a name. I like seeing those names that are still floating around in college. Yeah, I don't. Did you say best of luck to Arkansas?
Best of luck to Trevon Brazile.
All right. I guess if you can shed that, I don't think Peyton's going to admit that as
always a
as
true
really.
son.
Trevon Brazile play basketball this year. That's what I'll wish him.
Good job, Peyton. So he's back. Arkansas will be interesting. The SEC is going to be fun in basketball. We'll obviously have all of it for you guys when it comes around. I'm just excited to see this conference as a bunch of good teams, and hopefully Mizzou's one of them. Good additions. We'll talk some more college hoops. We're going to talk about Dan Hurley on the other side in just a couple minutes. We're going to do quick hits to finish off the show. Okay, quick hits time. We got jerseys of the week to start us off. Kenny, what is
I wanted to clean one thing up about the Justin Smith talk. I did look it up. He's no longer on staff for Rockridge football. The thing I was confused about is that he was inducted in the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame in 2020 and then the Mizzou University of Missouri Sports Hall of Fame in 2012. So he's just checking off the boxes, and it'd be back-to-back years for a Mizzou football alum going into the College Football Hall of Fame if he does, if he is inducted. So my jersey of the week, it does go to Jonte Porter. Just when you thought we were done talking about Porters, I'm just sad that more stuff is coming out about this. I thought it would be done. We didn't have to mention Jonte Porter again, but new report surfaced from ESPN this week that one of the people that was a part of the alleged gambling scheme with Jonte Porter was arrested. And his name is Longfee Bruce, went by Bruce Pham. And Bruce Pham was actually arrested at JFK Airport. I don't know if you guys knew this, but he was on he had a one-way ticket to Australia, and he was detained as he was trying to get on the plane. The best thing about this report, it did come out that, Jonte Porter did tell people that he was going to pull himself out of games right before to, make money back. And we kind of, there was a lot of assumptions that was happening. But one of these things that's one of the parts of this report is that there's two people still at large in this investigation. And I just found that really funny that I know it's a phrase that they use all the time for this kind of stuff, but to say someone's at large just for gambling, I thought that was funny.
Yeah, it's like it's like a most wanted fugitive, but it's just gambling.
Yeah, I mean, I was And then there was the whole thing about Jonte allegedly texting them like you might get a Rico or something like that.
I was going to mention that.
Just such a dumb situation, man. Like, it really is just so dumb. But yeah, I didn't know it even went this deep. I didn't get to read the whole thing. I've been busy, but I did not know like there were co-conspirators and all that. I just kind of thought it was Jonte sending money to one of his friends or something like that and having him bet on it.
Yeah, very it just gets more wild with the more stuff that comes out. Yeah, he said Jonte said they might get hit with a Rico and asked if they had deleted all of the stuff from their personal cell phones. It's just like this out of a movie, like just a comedy almost. Like it's just wild that stuff like is all real and now has come to light. Yeah, not great. Not great for Jonte Porter. I do think I do kind of like hearing those stories though when people are trying to escape to another country and they get caught in the airport. I just kind of picture in my head like they're like running to dive on the plane. Like the plane would be like a sanctuary. Like if they make it on the plane, the cops like can't get on and just take them off. I don't know. That's what I always think of whenever I like picture a situation like that. But he didn't make it on the plane, clearly. So not a good look for Jonte Porter. We'll obviously see if anything more comes of it. Peyton, on that note, what is your jersey of the week, sir?
My jersey of the week is going to be these Utah Jazz jerseys. They revealed their throwback jerseys. Are they their main jerseys now, or are they just?
I think they're their main ones.
Wow, that is a good move, Utah. They ditched those ugly neon ones.
No aura.
They're going with these throwbacks to the 90s, the beautiful purple with the mountain range. These are nice, man. And of course, Jordan Clarkson, Utah Jazz. There you go. There's a Mizzou connection for you. MIZ. Yeah, nothing really insane about or profound. It's just these are really nice jerseys. This is the jersey of the week segment.
They are very nice. The Jazz have aura now. They had no aura with the other uniforms.
Yeah.
The all black uniform looks like the Kings to me. I just can't get over it.
It does kind of look like a crown.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean now even with the purple, they're gonna have like the same kind of colorway ish from the Kings and the Jazz, but it's still much better than the neon and like black plain highlight or whatever the hell that was. Mistake. Was that literally like now that these are out? I almost think like was that just a placeholder year? Like did they just not come up with anything in time? So they were like, shit, we just got to run something out there. So
I don't know.
Buy ourselves more time. Like what were they thinking?
Swap jerseys like crazy. It feels like that guy in the replies to that tweet says, "Isn't this like their third uniform change in 5 years?" And I'm pretty sure that is like close to accurate.
Yeah.
It feels like they switch jerseys all the time. But these should be keepers.
When you plucked a team name from New Orleans and put it in a place that makes no sense, it kind of requires a lot of rebranding. Like there's no Jazz in Utah, but I like going all in with.
Well, they're judging by the leaked hockey team names that they have. They're going to probably need to do some rebranding there too, because all the names suck. What
are the names?
Utah Yeti, Utah Blizzard, Utah Hockey Club, Utah. There's 3 others. They're all bad.
We're gonna go soccer on them. Washington
there's
football.
There's so many people that love the like hockey club or football club or basket. I hate it. I think it is so boring.
I don't mind it for the like if an MLS. Yeah, if an MLS team does it, that's just
it works for soccer. It's not. I don't think basketball teams or hockey teams should be hockey club or basketball club.
It sticks out when you're the only one that's the Utah Hockey Club. That just makes you feel a little bit inferior for something. Like, yeah, it's a good point. While we're on the topic of just cool jerseys, I have one to add to your jersey of the week, Peyton, separate from mine own. Going to the NFL, the Vikings did their what are they calling it? Winter Warrior alternate uniforms. These are super cool. I love these uniforms. I love the helmet. It's simple. I'm a big fan of like white on white, white on gray, white with like a minimalist like color splash like this has. I think these look super nice. They might be my favorite uniforms heading into next season for alternates. They're so fire.
They are pretty good, and I like the sleekness of the helmet. The helmet just needs like I think it needs like one other detail or something on it, because it's kind of plain looking on the front. And
I don't mind it.
Something about like when they do just the horn on like the purple helmet really works. I think it needs another detail somewhere on the white
Maybe
helmet.
some yellow.
Yeah,
for their
just
other
like
colors
a
somewhere.
yellow accent or something like that. But they do look largely really good. I really like the white horn on the white helmet with the purple outline. If they just add some yellow in there somewhere, probably a perfect helmet.
Kenny, can you do me a favor? Can you Google the Oklahoma City Thunder white gray uniform? I've had a hot take. Like, a lot of people hated these when they come out. I'm trying to illustrate my point of like, I'm just a fan of these. They were very fire. Well, we got to get an image up. Yeah, that first one. I love these, and I think a lot of people don't. I think these are so cool, and they looked good on the court, which I realize is a hot take. But I like these. I like these jerseys. Yeah.
These
I'm a
stink. No, I'm not gonna lie to you. These look horrible. I don't think I remember ever seeing these, or
They wore them a couple
put
times.
them out of my mind. I like the Loves patch because they're all over that damn state. But Knowlton, I mean, these are bad. I mean, why is it on the side there? The OKC.
Oh, it's so I love the side.
They had a couple
Do you remember
uniforms that
the
were
old
like
ones
that.
Thunder?
Yeah,
blue
it looks
ones.
bad.
Yeah. No, it didn't. Those were so
It
good.
looks bad. Those are bad.
Wrong. They did have a court. They turned their court
bad.
gray when they wore these, and that looked bad. That looked pretty awful. But all right. Anyway, I guess it is a good jersey segment. This is the jersey of the week. My actual jersey of the week. I'm going to I'm staying in the world of football. Going to be Harrison Mevis. There was a report that came out in training camp. Harrison Mevis went 5 for 5 in another day in training camp for the third week in a row with media present. So also made a long of 60. We've, of course, seen him make a field goal famously 1 yard longer at Mizzou. So I saw another thing from that ML football account that said he went 20 for 20. I didn't know how much of that to believe because I couldn't trace it back, but he apparently is doing very well in training camp, and I think seems like he's on track to compete with Eddie Pinheiro on the Panthers for their starting kicker job. So congrats to Harrison Mevis. I think it's pretty awesome to see. I hope he makes it. There was also a good tweet from Barstool Mizzou. They tweeted the boys are all grown up with photos of Schrader, Mevis, Hopper, and then Ennis on the Lions, which I thought was just fun. It's fun to see them in training camp. So congrats to Harrison Mevis.
Definitely glad to see that. He got a 3-year deal too. So I mean, they clearly have some sort of hope. Like, it's not like a 3-year deal they can't get out of if he doesn't win the job, but clearly they have some faith in him. Also, Knowlton, I'm proud of you for almost getting Eddie Pinheiro's pronunciation right.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, but I might have butchered that.
It's okay.
Thank you for.
I'm glad Harrison Mevis listened to our podcast, because I did say a couple weeks ago, I said, if there's an opportunity to make kicks in front of media, you got to do it, and you can't hit anybody with the football, especially if one reporter from ESPN is around you watching you kick. So good on Harrison Mevis for showing out with the cameras in his face.
Not hitting anyone in the face.
Yeah.
It's a very good point. Schefter is not on the clock for Harrison Mevis. Yeah, congrats to him. Hopefully he's starting kicker at the NFL. Next up, Sean.
No capping. He's the main bird.
East Main Bird of the Week. Kenny.
My Sean East Main Bird of the Week goes to Caleb Brown, who officially transferred to Cal State Fullerton. He is a Titan. His connection to a bird is that he was almost a roadrunner. There's a very famous photo of him sitting down in an angle taken from his shoes of him saying, like, how we feeling, Roadrunner Nation. And then he came back to Mizzou. But he's closer to his brother now. So good for Caleb Brown.
It's true.
Yeah, no, I didn't even think of that until you tweeted it. That's good for him. Good, he'll be closer to his brother. I'm sure he'll be at some Laker game or Clipper games. Sorry. Whoa, that was close. Sorry. I haven't forgiven the Lakers for releasing Demoy Hodge. But Caleb Brown, good for him. Glad he's sticking D1. Hopefully so. I mean, I don't think Dennis Gates just said, yeah, Caleb Brown got better for no reason. Like, I'm sure that there is something in there for Caleb Brown. So hopefully against a lower level of competition, he can thrive.
I can offer this. I have talked to Cal State Fullerton's head coach, Dedrick Taylor, before. He is a very nice guy, very good coach. He told me a story when they played Duke. He was like very excited that Mike Krzyzewski knew who he was. So if that's an endorsement, there you go. So he has a good coach. I know that from at least speaking with him. So yeah, hopefully.
When did you talk to this guy?
I interviewed him a while ago in the spring.
For what?
Well, so for those who don't know, I cover Alabama. Alabama had a guy who went to Cal State Fullerton named Latrell Wrightsell Jr., and I did a story on him, and I talked to Coach Taylor. He was very nice, told me some funny stories about Latrell. Hopefully, he gets some funny stories about Caleb Brown. Maybe getting the team all Clipper tickets. There you go. So congrats to Caleb. I hope he has a fruitful career with the Titans.
That's some Mizzou basketball he's holding.
Is it?
It is.
So they haven't done any. He hasn't done any media with them yet. It's a photoshopped image.
Right. Good edit though for that.
It is a good edit. I actually do like that. Gives me Hayes vibes. Peyton, what is your Sean East main bird of the week?
My main bird of the week is going to be former Mizzou basketball assistants Chris Malvo. Softball. What'd I say? Basketball. Sorry, we were just talking about Caleb. Kate Malvo and Chris Malvo, they're now the co-head coaches at Auburn. If you're looking for a bird connection, just ask Twitter why Auburn says War Eagle, and you'll get very measured replies. But yeah, these are two. They were former Mizzou assistants. They weren't on the staff this past year or anything like that. They were previously coaching at Kentucky. But they had, I think it was 3 seasons at Tennessee, and before that they were at Mizzou. They coached at Mizzou for a number of years. And yeah, now they're back. They're staying in the SEC rather, but they're the head coaches at Auburn.
Yeah. This is cool. I was looking into their background. They've been to, like, on the same path forever. Like, they were at Mizzou together, they were at Tennessee together. I know Kate Malvo played at Bradley, and I think they were both coaches at Bradley together. I was going back through. It's kind of a fun story. So obviously it's tough that they're at a rival SEC program now, but congrats to the both of them.
They could also have a bird connection that they are lovebirds because they are married.
2014.
Kenny Van Doren, folks.
Congrats to them. Nice. My main bird of the week, I'm actually keeping the Auburn connection for mine. Now, I know this might be touchy for Mizzou fans because of that Mizzou-Auburn game back a couple of years ago, but I'm giving my main bird to Jabari Smith Jr., who, of course, played for Auburn for 1 season. Nearly lost to Mizzou as the number 1 ranked team. Should have. Katie Johnson is a cheater. Let's let that be on record. But I did like this from Jabari Smith. I was so they were doing interviews for I don't actually really know why he was there, but they were doing like interviews and a press thing for the NBA Finals, and he asked Jason Tatum, he said, what would you say to someone going in your 3rd year who hasn't lived up to their expectations? Tatum said, I've been in that situation. Everyone else your age is still in school trying to figure out what they want to do in life. I thought this was kind of cool. Very nice, very good question. I respect Jabari Smith for asking it. And a very cool answer from Jason Tatum, I thought, showed some maturity there as somebody who's had the spotlight on him forever.
Still 21.
So I thought that was still only 19, by the way, and still saying that. Yeah. I also just wanted to use this as an excuse to talk NBA Finals. Mav Celtics, guys, who we got and in how many games?
Part of me really does want to say the Mavs, but I can't do it. I think the Celtics have been too good this year. I'm going to go Celtics, but I'm going to go in 7. I think it'll be a very good series. There's a ton of good storylines you can pull out of this with Kyrie and everything.
Kristaps.
But yeah, I'm gonna go Celtics in 7. And on this Bird situation, very good answer for Jason Tatum. That's a very, very wise answer, I think I would say. Jabari Smith, also very fair for him to ask that question. Shows he really does care. Unfortunately, Jabari, you went 1 for 12 against Mizzou in that Mizzou-Auburn game, and I'm not going to let anyone forget that.
Good reminder.
Don't ask who the primary defender was.
Kenny, what do you think of this? Because he's Jabari Smith's a Rocket. You're a Rockets guy.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. It's very cool to see that from Jabari. I follow a lot of Rockets accounts, and for some reason, I never came across this one. Very cool to see from Jabari. Very humble, very mature for his age. Just really, just a great guy. Just awesome dude. I love Jabari Smith. Just
He's not listening.
awesome guy. No, so for my NBA Finals prediction, I think it's fair to say though that I deserve my flowers, because when Drew King came on the show last summer and was talking with us about the Mizzou basketball upcoming season and some things that were going on during the off season, he asked us who we thought was going to be in the NBA Finals. I don't watch the NBA nearly as much as I used to when I was younger, but I said Mavericks versus Suns just because I knew KD was on the Suns, and that's why I took the Suns, but I took the Mavericks.
That's impossible.
Oh, that's what happened. That's what happened. That was the thing. I accidentally said that, not realizing both were in the West. So then I took the Mavericks in the finals, and I don't remember who I said they were going to play, but I need to go back and listen to it. But I think I deserve my flowers for saying Mavericks going to the finals.
We did this when? This was last summer?
Last summer with Drew King. Little basketball preview.
So was it the 2023 finals that we were predicting?
No, it's like the NBA season was just about to begin. So I guess it was the beginning of fall when he came on.
So we were talking about the 2024 finals.
Yes.
Yeah, we were talking about the upcoming season, and because he wanted to talk about the Spurs. And then he asked who we got in the finals. I'm going to have to go back and listen to it after the show. But I think I deserve my flowers.
Yeah, I'm going to need a receipt check on that. We're going to have to check that.
Congrats,
Kenny. Congrats if that's right. I thought for a second, Peyton, he was talking about like we did it before the 2023 finals where it was Nuggets Heat.
I called my shot.
He just had way wrong. Yeah. So I've considered, obviously, like the storylines are fun. I think Kyrie versus the Celtics is going to be fun. I think Kristaps Porzingis versus the Mavs is going to be fun. Apparently, like Luka and him hated playing with each other. I love that drama. This is also the Grant Williams Bowl. Played for both of these teams, and he's not on either one now.
His fall off was real quick.
It was. That's what happens when you go to the. Oh, and I loved the. Did you see PJ Washington for the Mavericks when he was on Instagram Live, and someone was like, "Do you ever think about how you were in Charlotte?" And he was like, "I came from Charlotte to the finals." Just a nice little dig at the Hornets. I've had Mavs in 7, and I've considered changing that to Mavs in 6 because I kind of think if it goes to Game 7, the Celtics will win at home. But then I think back to last year when they played the Heat, and they literally came back from 3-0 down, had a Game 7 at home, and still lost. So I'm going to stick with Mavericks in 7. I think the Mavericks will still get it done. They have the best player in the series. I think when you have the best player in the series, you have a really, really good chance. So I like Luka and co. I also I don't want the Celtics to win the title personally. I have some personal reasons for that. So give me the Mavs in 7. So you have Mavs in 7, or I have Mavs in 7. Peyton, you have Celtics in 7. Kenny, what did you say again?
I'll just take Celtics in 6. I'm still trying to figure this out.
He was just trying to gas himself up. That's all he was doing.
All right, nice. Well, I'll tweet those off the account or something. We can lock them in. The finals, when you're listening to this, Game 1 will have already happened. Mavs win. No. Celtics win Game 1. That's my pick.
Same.
I'll say Celtics win Game 1.
All right. We'll see if we're right. All right. Nice. Yeah. Shout out the final starting. Shout out Jabari Smith. Let's do the best things we learned. Peyton?
Best thing I learned this week, we're going to stick with softball. The New York Rise, a pro women's fast pitch softball league, they signed Mizzou's Lauren Krings, Alex Honnold, and Jenna Laird. Hey, so they clearly liked what they saw. Lauren Krings in particular, of course, was dominant for much of the college super regionals and regionals. Also, Quentin Corporal, who we took this tweet from, says it'll be a homecoming for Laird, who grew up right near Hofstra University, where the Rise play their home games. Of course, Larissa Anderson was the coach at Hofstra before Mizzou as well. So bit of a connection there. Maybe she put in a good word. But yeah, very cool for Mizzou softball players. Get to keep playing.
Yeah. I like this. I wish Mizzou or Missouri had a pro. Like, it would be really cool if you were a Hofstra student to have a professional softball team that just plays games in your stadium. Like if they did that at Mizzou, like if there's a pro Missouri softball team, I don't know why they wouldn't be in like Kansas City, but just hypothetically, if they played in Columbia, that'd be so fun. I'd get tickets. I would have gone to games as an undergrad.
Semi-pro, or I guess it is pro for.
It's like before the Coyotes moved, Arizona State students could go to their games. Yeah, that's where they had to play. But yeah, congrats to Lauren Krings, Alex Honnold, Shannon Laird, pro softball. Shout out Quentin Corpio, friend of the program. Kenny, what's the best thing you learned this week?
My best thing I learned this week is that Jared Jones changed his warm-up song, the pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, to Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield. After telling Pirate social media that's a song he could sing a word for word. Pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
He actually had a quality start against the Dodgers in that game, piled up 6 strikeouts, and they won. So, I mean, the Pirates they have some young guns, some young bucks, and Jared Jones is one of them.
Yeah, best flame-throwing starter on that team, in my opinion. So, he does have elite pitches. That's not even like a super hot take. Obviously, Paul Skeens is probably better, but very cool, Jared. It's too bad you play for the Pirates, but
we'll have to make I don't know how often. I feel like this has come up before with athletes in the song Unwritten, but we'll have to make like a roster or something of athletes who have talked about Unwritten or played Unwritten. I feel like it's come up a couple of other times, but wait, can I ask a baseball question? Is Paul Skeens going to make the All-Star team? I was reading an article, and
probably not. He doesn't have the innings.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was wondering because I feel like that's not likely for a rookie, right?
Not for him. He
didn't debut until May. It's a little bit tough.
We have to do too. We have a tradition on this show. We got to do our All-Star game, our picks, and our home run derby. We got to do the home run derby again.
When it comes, we will do it.
When that comes around. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. Best thing I learned this week, thank goodness we waited to record till noon, because best thing I learned this week concerns the Los Angeles Lakers coaching search. Reportedly, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, who also got to dunk on Shams, and I'll mention that later, the Lakers are targeting Dan Hurley, of course, the back-to-back national champion coach with the Connecticut Huskies. Dan Hurley is a target. Apparently, they're pursuing him very hard to become the next Lakers head coach. It's not official, at least at the time of recording, and hopefully by the time you're listening to this, it doesn't become official for our own newsiness sake. But very interesting stuff, Peyton and Kenny. I know, we follow the college basketball space pretty close, obviously closer when Mizzou's doing well, but I think this is super interesting. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Dan Hurley should go to LA? Do you think he will go? What was your reaction when y'all saw this?
My jaw about hit the floor when I saw this. I mean, I could not believe it. I didn't even know if Jeannie Buss knew Dan Hurley's name. I'm going to be quite honest. He is coaching about as far from LA as you can. But hey, I mean, good for the Lakers if they get this done. I mean, he's a phenomenal head coach. I don't see why it wouldn't work out for them. The thing about it is the Lakers are just kind of the hardest head coaching job to succeed in. I mean, there's immense pressure. You're going to get zero credit and all the blame. So for Dan Hurley, I probably wouldn't take it if I was him, but he's his own man. I'm sure he can succeed.
He's certainly his own man. I think you can put an emphasis on that message.
So also, I like that he's kind of mewing in this photo. I don't know if you guys are noticing that, but it's like a good profile shot. So that's a strong jawline right there.
Chiseled.
Jack, you said you were glad that we record at noon on Thursdays. This report came out at 5:50 a.m. I don't think we were gonna have to worry about this one coming across the table while we were on the show.
That's a good point. All right. I'll retract.
No, but this will be fun though. If Dan Hurley does take the job with the Lakers, I mean, were we going to see like a similar thing we saw in college football and slightly in college basketball this year when Calipari left? Kind of the shuffling of the head coaches. I mean, everyone was moving in the football world, and I don't think I can, necessarily compare Dan Hurley to the greatest college football coach of all time and Nick Saban. But yeah, I mean, he won back-to-back national titles, which is extremely hard to do in college basketball. So I mean, if things are going to move and if they're going to hire from the outside, I think it's going to shift a lot of that landscape in college basketball with the head coaches and the carousel of that. Keep an eye on Dennis Gates. That's all I got to say. I mean, the guy can recruit.
Tom Crean. That's who I'm throwing into the ring. Tom Crean. Bring him out.
There's a head coach down there. There's a head coach down there in Lake Charles, Louisiana, that knows how to recruit, and everything he did illegally is now legal.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Will Wade, keep an eye on Will Wade.
Well, I think that gets to, like, you make up a good point, Kenny. I think if this is April, if we're talking about this on April 6th, this is, which we wouldn't, because I think they would have been playing the national championship during then. But if this comes out during April, I think this is you're right. I think that chain of events does start. Problem is, we're in June. College basketball teams have their rosters done. They're in training camp already for the summer. Like, a lot of the options that I think I would pick I feel like a lot more unlikely to go, which hurts UConn a lot in a situation like this if Dan Hurley leaves, because I think they do have a couple of good assistants. Obviously, they have Luke Murray, who is, of course, Bill Murray's brother. Or not brother, son. I think I meant son. Bill Murray's very old. Luke Murray's son, Bill Murray's son, who I think would go with Dan Hurley to LA. That would be my pick. And they also have, I'm blanking on the other assistant's name, but his last name is Young. They have him, who I think he would be probably in contention to take the job. Kamani Young is his first name. I think that he's been reported. I was listening to Field of 68. They talked about Bruce Pearl from Auburn because he doesn't have that big of a buyout on his contract. That would be interesting. Another East Coast guy, kind of has Dan Hurley's sort of personality, but it's definitely going to be interesting to watch. But from a college basketball perspective, I mean, to have the two-time national champion coach, I think everyone else is kind of wishing Hurley the best and hoping that he goes through with this so they don't have to deal with, trying to coach against him. But I think this changes a lot of things. The fact that this happens in June instead of April. The other thing with this is the subplot of Woj got an absolute dub over Shams, because Shams said that JJ Redick was a done deal like a week ago. And now Woj is out here saying that they might be falling through, might go with Dan Hurley. So the Woj Shams boat has flipped. He's now back below Woj, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In the news race.
Much needed for Woj.
Huge win for Woj. Woj. Let's see. I thought I had another thing. Oh, two more things. It was funny. 20 years ago today was when the Lakers went after Coach K to try and replace Phil Jackson, and they couldn't pry him away from Duke. So I thought that was pretty fun. And then there was also the thing, I don't know if you saw Gino Auriemma, the women's UConn coach. He said he was with Dan Hurley at an event like last night and said, I think you'd win a lot of championships with the Lakers. And then the next day, he said he was shocked. He said that had nothing to do with one another, which feels very hard to believe now, but I thought that was interesting. He literally said Dan Hurley would be a great coach for the Lakers, and now he's maybe going to get the job. But I don't think this affects... Oh, Peyton, Terrace Reed. Talk about Terrace Reed if Dan Hurley leaves.
I mean, he could in theory. I mean, obviously he was linked to Mizzou early before UConn kind of stepped in there, but the Michigan big man, I mean, he could come to Mizzou now again, in theory, if he wanted out because of that 30-day transfer window after a coaching change. Mm-hmm. I have a hard time believing anyone's going to really leave UConn at this point. Like Knowlton said, rosters are kind of set. Of course, you can always make room, but it doesn't strike me as a Gates move at this point to like really force someone out this late in the cycle. So I wouldn't bank on Terrace Reed.
I would bank on Gates going. I like Kenny's theory. Mizzou's going
to recruit.
He can recruit. He'd have a good budget to do so in stores. I don't think he's leaving. But yeah, big news in the college basketball world. And yeah, I think that'd be the biggest shakeup, is how many of those UConn guys maybe leave if they think they can even find a spot, on a roster with how set we are. They could all go to Maryland Eastern Shore. If you guys remember that when I brought them up on this show, I think Maryland Eastern Shore has 4 players on its roster right now for basketball.
Some schools just don't need programs that are in D1.
Yeah, it's tough. But we'll see what happens with Dan Hurley and the Lakers. That's all I got, fellas. Peyton, got a joke for us? Finish off show?
Listen, Jack, I'm not going to be just your jokey joke boy anymore, okay? You don't get jokes on command, as I say, stalling for time so I can find a good joke. Nope, that we've used that one. Here we go. This one comes from our favorite TV series, The Today Show. Guys, how do you get an astronaut's baby to stop crying?
My mind went to a very dark
Give it
place.
space.
That's a good one.
No.
Give it space.
That is a good one, but no. Any other guesses? Astronaut's baby. Think hard. What do you do with a baby? And what has to be an astronaut?
What's the mobile thing that like spins? Aren't those
You rock it, guys. You rock it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Rock it. Like rock the baby.
Good
All right,
one.
Jack.
All right, we're on the show. Hope everyone enjoyed a little more newsy segment. We'll have a lot of more of those, kind of going into the summer, just with it being a little bit more slow on the Mizzou front. But we're going to do Mount Rushmores too. We'll be back on Monday with another Mount Rushmore. So if you have any ideas, leave them in the comments. Thank you all for watching, listening, wherever you may be. We will see you guys on Monday.